Hollywood, the land of dreams, diamonds, and let's be real, some pretty dramatic downfalls. For every red carpet moment, there's a backstage battle that the cameras don't capture. Beneath the glitz and the Oscar-worthy smiles, some stars have fought wars with addiction that left them nearly unrecognizable, physically, mentally, and in some cases, even professionally. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain to reveal the shocking transformations of celebrities whose struggles with drugs didn't just derail their careers, they reshaped their entire lives. David O. Selznick, the man who turned Gone with the Wind into a cinematic legend, lived a life as turbulent as the epic stories he brought to the screen. His film shattered box office records, claimed 10 Oscars, and became one of Hollywood's greatest achievements. But behind the scenes, a different tale unfolded. Selznick was infamously hooked on Benzedrine, a stimulant he relied on to power through the grueling demands of film production. His addiction wasn't just a private struggle, it was Hollywood lore. Stories swirled about how he would crush Benzedrine tablets and lick the powder from his palm just to keep going. The drug fueled his relentless energy on set, but it also came with a dark side. Selznick's obsession with perfection led to amphetamine-fueled outbursts, harsh treatment of actors, especially actresses, and a reputation for pushing people past their limits in pursuit of his vision. While Gone with the Wind became an undisputed masterpiece, its creation came at a cost. Selznick's genius was undeniable, but so were his personal demons. His legacy remains a mix of brilliance and controversy, a reminder that even Hollywood's greatest triumphs often have a price behind the curtain. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey from Hollywood's ultimate troublemaker to the face of a billion-dollar franchise is nothing short of legendary. In less than a decade, he went from prison jumpsuits to Iron Man armor, proving that even the most spectacular falls can lead to equally spectacular comebacks. While most know about his rocky past, the full extent of his struggles might still surprise you. It all started in 1996, when Downey was arrested for heroin, cocaine, and an unloaded firearm after a traffic stop, because if you're going to get arrested, might as well make it headline-worthy. Not long after, he was caught trespassing into a neighbor's home while completely out of it, leading to probation and a stint in rehab. But addiction isn't so easily defeated. A missed drug test in 1999 landed him in state prison, and within 3 months of his release in 2000, he was arrested again, this time with cocaine and Valium. Then, against all odds, everything changed. Downey found the support, discipline, and drive to turn his life around. His unmatched talent never faded, and with the right roles and the right people around him, he made a jaw-dropping comeback. At the Avengers: Infinity War premiere, he summed it up perfectly. The past for me was 30 years of dependency, depravity, and despair, otherwise known as an actor prepares. Today, he's not just a superhero on screen, he's a real-life inspiration. California's governor even granted him a full pardon, officially closing the chapter on his troubled past. From rock bottom to red carpets, Downey didn't just reclaim his career, he redefined what a Hollywood comeback really means. Dennis Quaid, Hollywood's charming everyman, might seem like the last person you'd associate with drug addiction, but his past tells a different story. Back in the 1980s, when he was breaking into the industry, he got caught up in the cocaine-fueled culture that dominated Hollywood at the time. By 1987, while starring in The Big Easy, Quaid's addiction had spiraled to the point where he was surviving on just an hour of sleep a night. In fact, he later revealed that cocaine use was so widespread in the industry that some movie budgets even accounted for it. By 1990, when he finally admitted his problem to his then-wife, Meg Ryan, and checked himself into rehab, it wasn't just about getting clean, it was about reclaiming his life. He described this moment as the end of his toxic love affair with cocaine. recognizing that his addiction had nearly cost him everything. While his recovery journey was challenging, made even more complicated by his highly publicized divorce from Ryan, he remained committed to turning things around. Since conquering his addiction, Quaid has stayed sober, rebuilt his career, and embraced a healthier, more grounded lifestyle. His story is proof that even in a town known for excess, redemption is always possible. Bruno Mars, singer, songwriter, producer, and all-around hitmaker, has spent years dominating the charts with feel-good anthems like Uptown Funk and soulful ballads like Just the Way You Are. His talent and work ethic skyrocketed him onto Forbes' list of the highest-paid artists, solidifying his place as one of the music industry's most electrifying performers. But even with all that success, there was a moment that could have changed everything. In 2010, at just 26 years old, Mars found himself in a legal predicament at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas. The situation could have put a serious dent in his rising career, but instead it became a turning point. When confronted, he took full responsibility, calling it a mistake and agreeing to a plea deal that required him to stay on the right path for a year. He also paid a $2,000 fine and completed 200 hours of community service to clear his record. Looking back, Mars admitted that he wasn't completely honest at the time, chalking it up to youthful misjudgment. But if anything, the incident only reinforced his focus and determination. Since then, he has stayed laser-focused on his music, building a career defined by chart-topping hits, electrifying performances, and an unstoppable drive for success. Zac Efron, once the boy-next-door heartthrob of High School Musical, didn't just leave his Disney days behind, he took a detour through Hollywood's wilder side. Behind the charming smile and blockbuster roles, Efron was privately battling substance abuse with reports of heavy partying, multi-day binges, and struggles with alcohol and drugs. By 2013, the lifestyle caught up with him. Realizing the need for change, Efron checked into rehab, addressing his struggles with alcohol and cocaine. But he didn't stop there. He joined Alcoholics Anonymous, worked with a therapist, and committed to a healthier path. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he opened up about the ongoing battle, calling it a lifelong process, but also acknowledging how much recovery had transformed him. "I think it has changed my life. I am much more comfortable in my own skin. Things are so much easier now." Efron's perspective on his lowest moments is a testament to his growth. He once reflected, "Without those moments where you feel like you're lowest, it is impossible to appreciate the high." And today, that couldn't be more true. His comeback isn't just about blockbusters and fitness transformations, but about finding real stability and happiness beyond the Hollywood spotlight. River Phoenix was more than just a rising Hollywood star. He was a once-in-a-generation talent, a charismatic screen presence, and an actor poised for an iconic career. But behind his youthful charm and critical acclaim, a darker reality loomed. His sudden passing in 1993 at just 23 years old remains one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking tragedies. After wrapping a film project in Utah, Phoenix returned to Los Angeles, where he reportedly spent time with his bandmates before heading to the Viper Room, a popular nightclub owned by Johnny Depp. There, he began feeling unwell and confided in a friend, but at the time, his concerns weren't taken seriously. Within moments, he collapsed outside the club, where his girlfriend Samantha Mathis and others desperately tried to help. By the time paramedics arrived, the situation had turned dire, and despite their efforts, he was pronounced dead at 1:51 a.m. on October 31, 1993. His passing shocked Hollywood, serving as a stark reminder of the pressures young stars face. Phoenix had been known for his kind heart, raw talent, and deep love for music and film, and his loss left an unfillable void in the industry. Even decades later, his legacy endures, not just as a cautionary tale, but as a symbol of a brilliant light extinguished far too soon. Oprah Winfrey, media mogul, philanthropist, and one of the most influential women in the world. She's inspired millions with her wisdom, generosity, and powerful storytelling. But in 1995, she made a revelation that left audiences stunned. During an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show focused on women battling addiction, Oprah confessed that she, too, had struggled with substance abuse in her early 20s. She admitted that during a difficult period in her life, she became entangled in a toxic relationship that led to one of her biggest regrets, losing control of her own choices. The substance in question? Crack cocaine. For viewers, it was an unthinkable truth. One guest on the show, Kim Davis, a recovering addict, later told The Washington Post that she was completely blindsided. "You would never dream she had a problem with drugs," she said. Oprah later clarified that her drug use wasn't about addiction in the traditional sense, but about being emotionally dependent on the man she was with. "I always felt like it was a relationship problem more than a drug problem," she admitted. The confession, though shocking, only reinforced what people have always admired about her: her honesty, resilience, and ability to turn past struggles into powerful lessons. Brittany Murphy, known for her infectious energy in Clueless, Freeway, and as the voice of Gloria in Happy Feet, was a rising star with a charm that lit up the screen. But in 2009, at just 32 years old, her life came to a tragic and puzzling end. Initially ruled as natural causes, her sudden passing raised more questions than answers. In the early 2000s, whispers about Murphy's alleged drug use swirled through Hollywood. Her dramatic weight loss fueled speculation about possible struggles with substance abuse. When she married Simon Monjack, an enigmatic figure many viewed as controlling, concerns about her well-being only deepened. But the real shock came 5 months later when Monjack died under eerily similar circumstances, sending theories into overdrive. The official coroner's report found a mix of prescription medications at Murphy's bedside, with pneumonia and anemia listed as contributing factors. Friends later revealed that she had developed a dependency on painkillers, reportedly stemming from cosmetic procedures. While debates continue over the exact cause of her death, one thing is certain: the world lost a unique talent far too soon. Mickey Rooney, Hollywood's golden age darling and frequent co-star of Judy Garland, captivated audiences with his boyish charm and boundless energy. But behind the curtain, his life was anything but a feel-good musical. While he denied claims that MGM executives had fed him drugs, unlike Garland, rumors of his struggles persisted long after the spotlight dimmed. Before his death in 2014, Rooney's stepson, Chris Aber, painted a troubling portrait of the legendary actor's personal life. According to Aber, Rooney battled a severe addiction to sleeping pills, which fueled erratic mood swings and an increasingly volatile temperament. Despite his lovable on-screen image, those close to him described a man who was often angry and unpredictable behind closed doors. Aber went as far as to claim that Rooney's prescription drug use was excessive, recalling how picking up his medications required a shopping bag due to the sheer volume. This alleged dependence, coupled with ongoing personal turmoil, reportedly took a toll on his relationships, especially his 8th marriage. While the full truth may never be known, Rooney's life remains a complex mix of dazzling success and deep personal struggles. Leonard Nimoy, the man who embodied the unshakable logic of Spock in Star Trek, faced a battle far more human than Vulcan: alcoholism. While Spock was known for his control over mind and body, Nimoy found himself struggling to rein in his drinking for years. It all started innocently. A single drink to unwind after a long day of filming. But as Nimoy later admitted, the minute we finished the last shot, I would have a drink. Then it became a series of drinks. Little by little, before I knew it, I was drinking more and more because my addictive personality was taking over. His colleagues noticed the habit creeping into his daily routine, with reports suggesting that his post-filming ritual gradually turned into covert drinking during shoots. Like many in Hollywood, Nimoy wrestled with the pressures of fame, and a troubled marriage only deepened his dependence on alcohol as a coping mechanism. But in 1987, he made a life-changing decision. He sought professional help and overcame his addiction. This personal triumph coincided with a new chapter in his life, finding love again in his second marriage. Nimoy's journey proved that even the most disciplined figures on and off screen can face battles, but what truly defines them is how they choose to fight back. Britney Spears, the undeniable princess of pop, redefined teen music in the late 90s and early 2000s, capturing the hearts of millions with her infectious hits and iconic performances. But behind the glittering spotlight, Britney faced profound struggles that threatened to unravel her life. In 2006, amid a messy and highly publicized divorce from Kevin Federline, Britney's personal battles came to light. Her erratic behavior and substance abuse issues became tabloid fodder, culminating in a series of troubling incidents. The relentless media scrutiny intensified as her situation spiraled, leading to alarming reports of a possible suicide attempt and bizarre claims about her mental state. It was clear that the pressures of fame had taken a heavy toll. Recognizing the need for help, Britney entered rehab, but the journey to recovery was far from smooth. During this turbulent time, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, offering a clearer picture of her erratic behavior. With proper support and treatment, Britney slowly began to reclaim her life and career. Through the chaos and media frenzy, her resilience shone through, reminding everyone that even pop royalty can face real, human struggles. Daniel Baldwin, part of the famous Baldwin acting dynasty, lived a life that veered far from Hollywood glamour. While his brothers built high-profile careers, Daniel found himself in a battle with addiction that nearly consumed him. His struggles made national headlines in 1998, when he was found running naked through the halls of New York's Plaza Hotel, shouting his own last name. The bizarre incident led to his arrest for cocaine possession. In court, he pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and was sentenced to 3 months in a rehab program. But his battle with addiction had begun long before that, dating back to 1989 when he first started acting. Unlike many, Baldwin's demon was singular: cocaine. He didn't drink much, take pills, or smoke, but cocaine had a grip on him that took years to break. After 9 trips to rehab, Baldwin finally turned his life around. Today, not only has he continued his acting career, but he has also become a rehabilitation coach, using his personal struggles to help others battling addiction. What was once his greatest downfall has now become his mission, proving that no matter how chaotic the past, a brighter future is always possible. Jodie Sweetin, America's beloved Stephanie Tanner from Full House, grew up in the spotlight. But when the cameras stopped rolling, her real-life story took a much darker turn. At just 14, she began drinking alcohol, unknowingly stepping onto a path of addiction that would consume the next 13 years of her life. From ecstasy to methamphetamine to crack cocaine, Sweetin's struggles led her far from the wholesome image she portrayed on screen. In 2009, she courageously shared her story in her memoir, Unsweetened, revealing shocking details about her battle with substance abuse, one of the most haunting confessions. addressing a crowd at Wisconsin's Marquette University while still high from a 2-day binge. Her addiction painted a stark contrast to the sunny optimism of her Full House days. Despite hitting rock bottom, Sweetin found her way back. She achieved sobriety in December 2011, though the road wasn't without setbacks. Following a separation in 2013, she briefly relapsed but fought her way back to recovery. Today, she's more than a survivor. She's a force for change. Working as a clinical logistics coordinator at a Los Angeles rehab center and earning a degree as a drug and alcohol counselor, Sweetin has turned her past struggles into a mission to help others battling the same demons. Drew Barrymore's Hollywood story is one of dazzling highs and heartbreaking lows. Making her big screen debut at just 7 years old in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, she became an overnight sensation before she even understood what fame truly meant. Born into the legendary Barrymore acting dynasty, she was immersed in the industry from infancy, literally booking commercial gigs before her first birthday. But the price of early stardom was steep. By age 7, Barrymore was sipping Baileys over ice cream like it was just another childhood treat. By 11, she was battling alcohol addiction. By 12, she had moved on to harder substances. At just 13, she hit rock bottom, attempting suicide and landing in rehab. Her chaotic upbringing didn't help. Her mother, more party companion than parent, took her to infamous clubs like Studio 54, exposing her to a lifestyle far too intense for a child. At 14, Barrymore made the bold decision to legally emancipate herself from her parents, trading red carpets for cleaning bathrooms just to survive. But despite relapses and struggles, she fought her way back, with friends like Cameron Diaz supporting her through the rough patches. Today, she's a powerhouse, actress, producer, talk show host, proving that even Hollywood's wildest child can turn the page and write a new story. Stephen King, the undisputed master of horror, has spent decades crafting terrifying tales that haunt our imaginations. From The Shining to it, his stories are legendary. But while his novels explored monsters lurking in the shadows, his own real-life battle was with something far more insidious: substance addiction. For years, alcohol was his creative fuel, a constant companion as he churned out bestsellers at an astonishing pace. As his career soared, so did his dependency, with cocaine becoming his drug of choice. His addiction grew so extreme that he once stuffed cotton balls up his nose to keep blood from dripping onto his typewriter while writing. King feared that without drugs and alcohol, he might lose his creative spark, a belief that made his struggle even harder to escape. But even the king of horror couldn't outrun his own demons forever. His family and friends staged an intervention, forcing him to confront the reality of his addiction. It wasn't easy, but with the right support and treatment, King overcame his dependence on drugs and alcohol. Today, not only has he maintained his legendary career, but he's proof that true horror isn't about the monsters we create. It's about finding the strength to conquer the ones within. Judy Garland, born Frances Ethel Gum, was more than just Hollywood royalty. She was a once-in-a-generation talent, a voice that could bring the world to tears, and the unforgettable Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz. But behind the Technicolor dream was a life filled with pain, pressure, and addiction. Signed by MGM as a teenager, Garland was groomed for stardom, but at a devastating cost. The studio monitored her weight, placed her on a strict diet, and introduced her to amphetamines to keep her energized. Even before she was 17, Garland was already caught in a cycle of stimulants to stay awake and sedatives to sleep, a pattern the studio reportedly enforced on her and Mickey Rooney to keep them working. This toxic regimen laid the foundation for a lifelong battle with substance abuse. As MGM's brightest star, Garland faced relentless pressure, leading to multiple breakdowns and ultimately, a full-blown addiction. By June 1969, the struggle reached a tragic end. Garland was found dead at 47 from an accidental overdose, marking the heartbreaking conclusion of a life filled with extraordinary talent but unbearable pain. Even in death, she remains an undeniable legend, a reminder of both Hollywood's magic and its mercilessness. Jeff Conaway, best remembered as the slick-talking Kenickie in Grease, lived a life that was far less carefree than his on-screen persona. Beneath the charm and Hollywood success, he fought a lifelong battle with addiction, a struggle that ultimately led to his untimely death in 2011. His troubles became widely known when he appeared on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, where his dependence on cocaine, alcohol, and painkillers was laid bare for the world to see. Conaway had recognized his problem as early as the mid-1980s and sought treatment multiple times, but addiction remained a relentless force in his life. His struggles were further complicated by a toxic, codependent relationship with his girlfriend, who was also addicted to prescription opioids, making recovery an uphill battle. A back injury sustained during the filming of Grease only deepened his reliance on pain medication. Despite undergoing multiple surgeries and claiming improvement in a 2009 interview, he never fully broke free from his dependence. On May 11, 2011, Conaway was found unconscious, reportedly from an overdose of pain medication. It would be his final battle. The demons he fought for decades finally took their toll, ending a career marked by talent, turmoil, and the devastating grip of addiction. Tell me you weren't expecting her name. Marilyn Monroe wasn't just a star. She was Hollywood's ultimate icon, a symbol of glamour, beauty, and mystery. But behind the dazzling smile and the unforgettable performances, Monroe battled demons that fame couldn't silence. As her career skyrocketed, her mental health declined. She struggled with depression, substance abuse, and possibly bipolar disorder. Forgetting lines, sinking into paranoia and despair, she relied on alcohol and prescription drugs to cope with the relentless pressure of maintaining her public image. The weight of Hollywood's expectations, personal heartbreaks, and inner turmoil pushed her further into isolation. On August 5, 1962, the world lost its brightest star. Monroe was found dead in her Brentwood home, her passing ruled as acute barbiturate poisoning. The tragic overdose shocked the world, ending a life that was as painful as it was iconic. Years later, her personal writings revealed the depths of her loneliness, with one line capturing it all: "It's a terrible thing to be lonesome, especially in the middle of a crowd." Even today, Marilyn Monroe remains an enigma, a legend, and a heartbreaking reminder that even the most adored figures can feel unbearably alone. Elvis Presley, the undisputed king of rock and roll, was a force of nature, electrifying audiences with his swagger voice and signature hip-shaking moves. But by the time of his tragic death at 42, he had become a shadow of his former self, weighed down by fame, pressure, and a dangerous reliance on prescription drugs. On August 16, 1977, the world was stunned when Elvis was found unresponsive in the bathroom of Graceland. The toxicology report painted a grim picture, a lethal cocktail of painkillers and sedatives, including Dilaudid, Percodan, Demerol, codeine, and Quaaludes. The man who once stood against drug abuse had unknowingly fallen victim to it himself. At the center of his addiction was Dr. Nick Nichopoulos, Elvis's personal physician. Originally treating him for chronic pain, Dr. Nick later admitted to prescribing thousands of pills, sometimes attempting to replace real drugs with placebos. But in the end, Elvis's demands always won. The tragic irony? Elvis once received an honorary badge from President Nixon for his anti-drug stance, only to be consumed by the very substances he once condemned. His death remains one of Hollywood's greatest cautionary tales, proof that even the biggest legends are not invincible. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was not just a musical genius, but a cultural force who shaped the sound and style of the 20th century. However, behind his iconic performances and groundbreaking music videos, Jackson faced a private battle with a severe drug addiction that ultimately led to his untimely death. Reports suggest that in the last 15 years of his life, Jackson used up to 19 fake identities to fuel his drug habit. His struggles with painkiller addiction began in 1984, following a Pepsi commercial accident that left him with severe burns. To manage the pain, doctors prescribed opioids, which Jackson later identified as the beginning of his dependency. In 1993, he sought help by entering rehab and participating in a 12-step program. But despite these efforts, his addiction persisted. Jackson's family and friends tried to intervene, but he largely remained in denial, refusing their help. Tragically, in 2009, at the age of 50, his life came to a sudden end. He suffered cardiac arrest due to a lethal combination of sedatives and propofol, a powerful anesthetic administered by his doctor to treat insomnia. The doctor was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter, but by then it was too late to save the pop icon. Jackson's death remains one of the most tragic and widely discussed events in entertainment history.